Hello. Good early afternoon, Slush. I'm the host for the next session. Pleasure to be here for the first time at Slush, actually. I don't know how I missed it, but somehow I have. And my name is Ott Kaukver. And in a previous life, I've identified as a self-taught software developer, being a CTO and technology lead for companies like Skype, Twilio, and then Checkout.com. And now I'm mostly serving at the boards of different startups, companies, and also some foundations. And on the left side of me here is Kaarel, the founder and the CEO of Veriff. And on this impact stage today, we're going to talk about the past and the present and the future of the online verification industry. And I'll try to extract as much possible of a practical company running advice and also his progression as a CEO. So let's see how much I can get out of him. Besides Kaarel being a close friend, he's also a founder, a passionate product leader, somebody who can work from morning till late evening. And but also he's an avid sailor. And is a tinkerer. So if you want to automate your home, optimize an energy bill, or if you want to find out which is the best satellite-controlled lawnmower, also he's your guy. So welcome, Kaarel. Happy to host you here. So we're doing it for the first time on stage, so let's see how it goes.
Nice. Thank you, and thank you for the kind words, especially coming from the top tech leader in the world.
Please. So, Kaarel, before we jump into it, maybe just give us a little bit of an understanding. What does Veriff do?
Veriff is building trust infrastructure for the safer internet. We allow any website and mobile application to answer whether this new user is really who they claim to be. Is this person trusted? And is this trusted person still behind already verified account?
Have I used Veriff?
Yes.
Or people in the audience probably used Veriff?
Most likely as whenever you've leveraged, let's say, your favorite dating platform, you might have used Veriff as we are powering verifications at Bumble. Whether you've ever used Uber or any other payments methods out there, then today Veriff is like an Intel Inside behind 7 out of 10 everyday services people use daily.
So Veriff is now 10 years old. It's just celebrated the 10th birthday in October. And Veriff started as a simple ID verification. Basically, take your plastic thingy, show it to the camera, and then magic happens, and the computer tells yes or computer tells no. And that's what companies use. It wasn't always like this, that magic happens. So how did it get started? How was the path of scaling Veriff?
I think going back to the beginning, then the beginning for sure started by doing things that didn't scale, as it was very manual process at the beginning and starting out of Estonia and having traditional banks as your first customers for a startup. Then there was also regulatory demand, which required us to do, after the verification, real-time video interviews. And those video interviews were always manual. We had our verification team with a green screen that always changed the background to be another bank. But the conviction was to truly solve the identity problem and what limits its ability to go to mainstream use. And it was all about automation that delivers better user experience, automation, and cost. And essentially, it was firing the customers that were providing initial revenue, helped us to get off the ground, yet we needed to follow our conviction on automation, and essentially it enabled us to build an offering that powers big tech globally, get to the level of doing 100 million plus in revenue, growing by doubling the revenue and doing it all profitably. And in terms of volumes, 10 years in, then it took us 10 years to get to 400 million volumes.
400 million verifications.
400 million verifications globally. We'll add another 400 million on top by March next year.
Okay, so stuff that you did for the last 10 years, now you're doing in less than 4 months.
Yep.
Well, that needs some scaling of technology and like identity verifications. A lot of companies started hiring a bunch of people and then looking at the faces, but also like doing that for 400 million verifications now in a short amount of time. You just like run out of humans. Humans can do it. So automation was the path forward, but also that was what took us here. And like now, the also use cases have emerged. Like new use cases have emerged. So it's not just about verifying for your bank account or some crypto exchange, but it's also like age verifications and new use cases are coming on board because the more and more trust is needed online. So 10 years ago, we had an iPhone, but we didn't have like 5G. We didn't have wearables, and nobody knew. Some of the people knew what AI was, but nobody really knew what generative AI was. And now the race to secure the internet is completely changed, and we hear AI everywhere and how the development is changed, but also the attack vectors are changed. So if you think now, if you see what's happening in the next 10 years, and that you probably don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years, but you see probably some trends and like AI and kind of AI-driven attack vectors on the internet being one key thing. What are the kind of observations you see as leading Veriff?
You're right, as it's hard to say, like this kind of interface we are going to have in the future. As only thing I can be sure of, it's going to change as a lot is happening. But when I think about the identity verification and the use case expansions, then it has gone from the regulatory compliant checkmark for financial services into building trust with users. And why it's important, as already 2009, Airbnb, Uber changed the way how we trust sitting into strangers' cars or sleep in their homes. And it built from the fact that we as users having a lot of trust into the work that Uber and Airbnb are doing for this purpose. Now, Uber is even verifying not only the drivers, but also the riders. And as a result of verifying the riders on a two-sided service marketplace, there is more trust on a platform. Drivers are willing to accept low-value trips more than before. And as a result, it's a better service for everybody involved and even more growth for the business based on additional trips they can do. So trust powers the growth, and this is an area that has been built quite a lot. If I think along the lines of the AI, then AI is not only in the hands of the good people. AI is also in the hands of highly funded fraudsters. Then what we've seen is that the way when you're like going to leverage, let's say, a dating platform that has been having a lot of superhumans powered by LLM, which are building up the relationship with 1,500 people at the same time, and within a week, saying, let's meet up. Can you pay for my flight ticket? And what happens is that this is low ticket value but high scale fraud already driven by the latest in LLMs. And what it has made, it has eroded platform's trust, limiting their growth. And unless it's not acted on, it will change quite a lot on how the world is going to happen. Additionally, it's also the phishing emails where they've gotten better. It's not like Nigerian prince sending and you all understand it. This is something wrong, but now when people are connecting their agents and MCP service to their emails, you don't even need to open up an email. You just need to get the malicious prompt that will sign next DocuSign link coming, and you have signed a contract. So those are the new threats that are eroding trust of the internet unless we don't manage it properly. And when we're thinking along the agents, then agents also come with a lot of great opportunities. So they enable us to have more of an agentic commerce that also requires this kind of a trust towards the access, whether this agent can make those buying decisions of a new robotic lawnmower on behalf of me. And there's a need for a clearance house. There's a need for a trust infrastructure. So on our end, the scale for identities going from an onboarding into every single transaction, it's continuous work on betting and working on AI and machine learning as it's beyond human scale. And we don't know yet how the world is going to shape, yet we believe it's still core to keep on being close to the customers and build together with them to build the trust infrastructure for the internet.
Good. So we got the agentic thing also mentioned because no panel goes Slush without mentioning agentic. So we got that check mark also.
Yes.
Good.
The next talk is gonna be agentic.
Seriously? Yeah. Oh yeah. But let's maybe change gears a little bit for founders and also operators in the room. You've been a solo founder. You founded basically this is your first company, and you haven't really worked anywhere before. You kind of still have a life ahead of you, but it's also kind of required you to change. And what's it has been for you as a CEO, looking back into those like 10 years. What have been the stages of building a company, and also kind of what has meant for you?
We have 11 minutes, yeah. But yeah, I think along the lines of building the company and looking back in time, first 10 years, then it goes into 3 areas. At first stage was like a survival. It was making sure that you can prove out your value and hypothesis with the first customers. Getting an initial funding, giving your all to make the payroll, and counting runway in hours. This was good. If it went under hour, it was bad. And this eventually was this kind of a first survival. Now, the second stage was product market fit, but I would even call it like survival Vault 2, as how do you know that someone's a vegan? They will tell you. And the same happens with product market fit. You feel it. They'll make it so clear, you don't have to question whether you have it or not. And for us, it came 3.5 years into building Veriff. And this was the part when our volume started to grow super, super fast, and it was a recognition that building a prototype and early momentum is only 1% of the work, what it takes to build global scalable infrastructure that powers millions of verifications per day. And everything was broken. Everything was, you fix one, there's a new bottleneck, and you needed to have more funding and initial work to keep on shipping as well when everything was on fire. And now third level has been the profitable growth. The profitable growth along the lines that money is not the primary issue. Now you more are thinking along the lines of the leadership, whether you're having the right people on board. You are having more meritocratic resource allocation, not like the one who screams the loudest in the stage 2 and 1. And actually, it's even one of the fastest growing ways of building the business at the end as well. So there's been tons of learnings across all of those 3 phases.
And also it kind of needs a kind of different type of CEO. Like at the beginning when there's five people in a room and you need to things happen, then everybody's rooting for everybody and you're going to get things done. Scaling, okay, you need to make sure that you don't fall over, you deliver the service. But then in this kind of profitable growth phase, which you kind of are right now, the words that we use often is repeatability, and the process word is the kind of the bad word, but the process you need to be able to make decisions quicker. And one thing, what we are been discussing also kind of how this changes the CEO role, and when you kind of at the beginning you kind of make decisions. All right, we go there, we take that hill. But now more and more, like your job has become of like giving context, kind of explaining why and where we need to go, rather than just saying, "Hey, teams, go there." So I know that, like, I've worked with the founder CEOs my whole career, and they always push you and they have opinions and they drive you. That's great. I know you drive your team also. They tell me that. But at the same time, you only have 24 hours in a day, and sometimes it's like difficult to let go. And for you, how has it been for you? And is there anything that can like stuck out that others can like take away from your journey here?
I mean, in theory, I'm already pretty good on knowing what works and what not. But there are, of course, times of managing all of your own learnings as, number one, company can never grow faster than your own personal growth. And topics that worked before are in many times now becoming a bottleneck. And for me, it was definitely the part that I thought, okay, we are like growing super fast. I can help the team out as I know the answer within a second. I can help and do stuff. Whereas this approach now is taking teams' ownership, their own ability to build a multiplication. As the company is now at 650 people, the inertia of the organization and rate of change is also different than having a bunch of startuppers in a smaller group together. So for me, the key area has been understanding how I can help the company the best is making sure there's right leadership. Mm-hmm. There's a right leadership in place as someone who is good today, yet I'm seeing they are like at 100% capacity, then expecting them to deliver what's required in 2 to 3 years out, then it's not something what you can push out of 100%, additional 20 or 30 more. So a lot goes into leadership hiring. In terms of decisions, it gets into context.
So basically, your job is now more looking at 2 to 3 years ahead and planning for that, rather than kind of being in a moment of execution.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it can be hard because you're passionate about what you build and all that. One of the things that we wanted to actually mention, like this is a story that you kind of told me, and like I've been telling others also, is that the path that we're here now, like 100 million plus run rate and all that, but you could have actually been bought, because there was a story that you tell probably like in the second or third year of your that you were approached with the offer to sell the company, and you kind of didn't. Why did you do that?
It was exactly how we got connected when I was in Y Combinator's Winter 18 batch, and you were there as an independent to give a call to you when I had an offer at hand from multiple companies that wanted to acquire us. Yet investors and everybody were more incentivized to give it a go. But I made the conviction for myself as this is my life's work, and I wasn't sold on the fact at the end that it's gonna be enablement for Veriff to grow underneath a company that is a little bit bigger than us today. But yeah, this is how we started, and I hope one day Stripe will be called Veriff for payments.
So, like, Kaarel called me like 8 years ago and said, like, what should I do? I asked, what do you want to do? I don't want to sell, because everybody else was telling to sell, and then you know the answer. Yep. So that's the thing, is he had conviction, and I think having a conviction, especially like we heard on a big stage now talk about Europe and being innovating here and building here. And I think Eric Schmidt was here a couple of months ago telling like to European companies, don't sell too early. And I think Kaarel probably made the right decision there. But I know it's a fog of war when this kind of thing pops up, and it's tempting to take the carrot, but kind of believing and building towards the future, that's the thing. And so we have like 2 minutes roughly here, and I actually maybe want to kind of start wrapping this up with your perspective on like not practical tips, but kind of what has been driving you, and what would you give to similar CEOs in the field to take away here, how to build a company?
I think the first part is getting back to the conviction and the importance of making peace with yourself, that you love the problem and you have a conviction on a solution, so you will go through the good and the bad times no matter what. It's not about the technology, like everybody was having an app, blockchain, now AI. It's about starting from a problem first and leveraging the rest as the right tools from a toolbox. Good times never last, bad times never last forever. It's about making peace with yourself. Then the second part is getting back to the team. Team, and most importantly, the leadership. You need to have people on board who are at least 2 to 3 years ahead of the curve. You need to be in a position that you can build an organization. You can be proactive, not reactive. And this has a very big impact for the organization. Because if it's not the case, then there is a bottleneck, and you as CEO are the only one to blame to cause it. And third thing is actually, as founders, you got to take care of yourself. Because when you don't take care of yourself and you're going into different discussions with people, then even if you don't think they understand that you're like running in red, they do. And your team, customers, investors that you need to balance on a day-to-day basis. And for me, what I've learned, I always understand and ask about, it all during the small talk as well, what you've done and how have been things. And this is such an important part. So, Ott, I mean, you've been keeping me accountable, and a couple of meetings you're just getting me to the gym. So,
yeah, we do have meetings in actually riding a bike together. So
exactly.
Need to cover it. Thank you very much for the session. Our time is up, and I hope you enjoy the next talk about agentic things, all things agentic. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.